Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Property. I am your host, Cheryl Leong from Property Development Australia. At the Business of Property, we interview superstar guests in the property development space that share their expertise, their deals, and their stories to help empower, build, and grow our community of property developers and investors. So hello, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube land. Give me a shout out if you're here with us today in the comment section, whether it's in the bottom or the right or whichever. I'd love to have a chat with you today. So we have two wonderful guests tonight, and they are not strangers to the business of property. In fact, Scott and Vanessa have been on the business of property probably about a year ago. This will be Scott's third time on the business of property, and so he is definitely a very experienced guest indeed. But the reason we wanted to get Scott and Vanessa back was to be able to see how they're going in terms of joint ventures in their projects. So when we first had them on, they just finished their first project, and in fact, it was really sort of early days in their partnership. So Scott is the owner and director of Sierra and Fox, and Vanessa is also the owner and director of Connection Property. So without further ado, and I don't want to burst a bubble, we're going to be talking about teamwork makes the dream work. So I will love to invite Scott and Vanessa down to the Business of Property dance floor. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello. Hello again, guys. It's great to see you here. Hello. We've got people on Facebook that's joining us. Pop in a hello if you know Scott and Vanessa. Give them a bit of a shout out. Guys, it's been just under a year, close to a year since you've been working together, I reckon. And when we last spoke, you were just about finishing your first project. And here we are now, really just sort of touching base to see how things are going in the development marriage that you guys have. I'd love to hear how things have grown since you started. Vanessa, maybe you want to kick off.
Yes, absolutely. I suppose that I started working together in one project. It was like testing the waters and see how we went working together, and it worked well because we had common goals, I suppose. So working through the first deal and then looking for more deals in the similar way to achieve, similar goals or same goal, it helped a lot to get us going.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how many projects have you guys done together now and still in the process of?
Yes,
we've got 4 going at the moment, and the first one that I did, Vanessa was on board with that one, so this will be our 5th together, but 4 when going out purely for this joint venture arrangement that we've got.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Scott, what's been the biggest learning for you in finding a partner that's that you can work with? Because it developments, you hear a lot of horror stories. People sort of go, we start off really well and it all goes pear-shaped, right? But so what's been the secret to the successful teamwork and partnership that you've got?
I think just being honest and upfront about everything, including sharing what our goals are, where we want to be, and really understanding where the other person wants to be as well, making sure those align. So we were able to do that quite early on, and I guess we've met quite a few times before we started this arrangement. So we were already comfortable with each other. We trusted each other. We knew each other's character. So I guess it was just keeping that communication open, and that's probably been the biggest one, I would say. Yeah.
And Vanessa, we talk about when we first spoke around roles and responsibilities. Have they pretty much been fairly consistent across all your projects? Like, what are the roles and responsibilities that you have and Scott has?
Yes, I suppose it's flexible, and the other way around. It's just I'm having connection issues. Yeah, sorry about it.
Connections a little bit
Yes,
choppy.
Yes. But basically, I work mainly on the road. I'm with people. I'm communicating with investors and so forth, and I guess Scott does the analytical part of things more than I do. But it's not set in
And in
stone.
terms of
We can
project
both do
management-
both.
Yeah, yeah. And does someone sort of have the responsibility over the, like I said, the technical side, the project management side of things?
Well, we would get together and we use property tools like Asana for putting all the tasks up that we need to do. We'll get together and figure out, okay, what are the next few months of tasks, and we'll list them out. And I guess at the time we'll allocate who wants to do what, and we're pretty flexible with that. And then if someone is busy doing, maybe we'll found another deal or something like that, someone might be busy trying to put that in, an offer in or something like that, getting information for that, the other person might take over one of the tasks that we had allocated to the other. So yeah, it's quite flexible that way.
It's flexible, yes.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's no sort of egos around it, because it doesn't feel like any of you have this real need to control a particular part of the transaction. It's really like, who has capacity? I'll take it on, take the reins to begin with, but if something comes up, do you mind, if I hand it over to you? That sort of, I get the sense of that collaboration in that regard.
Yeah, as long as
it's done. As long as it gets done. And I suppose that because we have complementary skills and we have, I guess, our preferences are hugely different. And you can probably tell when we're working on deals that I can probably jump on the things that needs more being out in the field and on the road and being with people. Whereas the analytical side of things, even though I can do it, it's not my preferred thing. But at the same time, I don't mind doing the numbers or doing the, bookkeeping, accounting side of things, so I can keep track of what's happening, and then I can actually rely on the deal. This is what happened. This is what we're paying for. So then it gets the understanding, whereas he has a bit more experience with the background he has. So, but it's,
And you mentioned as well, like, task management. Yes. And talk us through how you set that up. You touched a little bit on Asana, because this is one thing where a lot of developers, they're like, how do I keep on top of numerous projects, right? You've got 4 projects going at the moment. Talk us through high level, how have you set up your task management to work for you so that you've got an overview of where all your projects are?
Sure. Okay.
Yep. Maybe is that a Scott thing?
Well, okay. We have, so in Asana we do your new projects. Every time we get a new project, we'll set one up and break that down into a set, I guess, template that we like to break it down into, say, development application stage, construction stage, plan ceiling, that type of thing. So we'll break it down something similar to that, and we'll allocate the tasks in little subtitles and put dates on them, etc. And aside with that, we use Google Drive just on, so we share folders, and we'll have all the documents sitting in our Google Drives just as a whole project, and then they'll have subfolders in there with all the relevant information. So we'll have, I guess, accounting will be one, so payments and invoices, we'll have something like development application, building approval folder, plan ceiling folder, research folder, that type of thing. So I guess to keep on track is more the Asana type of thing. We use that to keep on top of where the project's at. I guess there's the intuition as well, just on knowing that we've put something in about a month ago. Oh, what happened with that one? And it might not have come up on the on a notification yet, but we'll remember to just check up and see. Or one of us will, and we'll talk about it and arrange to follow it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you keep this sort of communications predominantly on Asana or is it through emails? Because again, the communication part when you've got numerous parties and projects.
Yes.
And thank you so much for the comments about educating everyone on put and call options. If you're patient, you'll be getting to what these guys have been doing, putting their projects together. But the whole point of this, the topic that we're talking about is how to work with partners. So appreciate the question. You just got to be a little bit patient. All right. So sorry, just back to you around communication. How do you make sure that communication is clear? Because you've got investors as well.
Yeah, so I suppose that we have the system that gets us very organized in terms of files, as Scott said, and then the dates and deadlines and things that are happening in the project, and we can put in Asana, which I suppose it took a little bit of time to get into the point that we understood the tool itself, but also we communicate good old become development call, and things like that. And if I'm on site and I have somebody with me and I want him to look at it or check, I just basically call through a WhatsApp, put a video on, say, this is what it looks like, what do you think? And we communicate also in the old-fashioned phone way, I suppose.
Yeah.
And emails will probably be the biggest one in communicating the tasks, and also just summary statements in Asana. When something's done, we'll just say, oh, this was sent on this date, done. And just have a little summary statement to, when we go back to it, we can understand, yep, that'll be in the email somewhere, something like that.
Yeah. And I think that's the point that we're trying to drive here is for those of you who are getting into the development space or having to handle numerous projects, when you're dealing with different people, different stakeholders, like it's really critical that you agree on some way of how you're communicating and make sure that everything is in writing. And I know that sounds a little bit sort of, it's of course you would, but a lot of it gets missed, and a lot of it then you lose track of where things are at. There's no accountability, and you don't know when, using task management tools, you'll be surprised there are not that many people that use it. Right? So you can use things like Asana. I know a lot of people use Monday and also ClickUp or whichever. In any case, task management is a really important part of working together harmoniously as well.
Yes.
And I'll share with the audience and with you guys, I've had projects in the early days where there was no task management, and it was literally like you had no idea where things were at, and it was an absolute schmozzle.
That's how I started a few years back.
We all do, right? I mean, we all do. And that's why it's like, no, you get to a point where I can't run numerous projects like this. Because and depending on how you set it up, say for example, and we'll move into projects very, very soon, because when you're looking at different projects as well, looking at acquiring different projects, have you set up things like checklists and things like that when you're assessing sites?
Well, yes, I suppose we have. We have, I guess, a system that we go through that we learned from our course that we did. That's how we met as well. So it's pretty straightforward and a systemized way to actually check the site and check the numbers to say yes or no. And then we just recently start putting those things into Asana as well, so we can actually have the sites that we looked at and they actually get registering there, because then sometimes the site comes again and again, and we have that address in our comments. We don't have to spend time to look at it again because it's there already and it has our comments. This is a no because whatever overlay or whatever we decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's hundreds in there.
So what was that, Scott?
There's hundreds in there.
There's
hundreds of no's, hundreds of no's every day. There's a big bucket with no.
Yeah, exactly. But
address.
it's clear. It's clear as to how you've got to that decision as to whether you take on a site or not, and whether it stacks up, I guess. So, talk us through some of your projects that you've got now at the moment. We'd love to understand what the project was, how you came across the project, and how you secured it as well. If you can talk us through. Scott, maybe you can pick your favorite one at the moment.
Favorite one, it's probably the 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐿 site. Sorry, Vanessa.
That's so good.
The
keep us on our toes.
Steal your thunder. I said he's stolen your thunder, Vanessa. You got to pick another one now.
No, it's okay.
It's a 1 into 2. Oh, sorry, 2 lots into 2 in 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐿 in Brisbane. So there's an existing character house sitting on 2 lots at the moment. So it's straddling both. And what we're doing is we're subdividing and sliding and raising the house to one side. So we're able to do that because of the zoning. And so we'll be able to sell a vacant lot and keep the house on a reasonably sized lot with the pool. We were able to keep that as well. So we'll be doing a renovation, just a minor cosmetic, but it's a beautiful house. It's character. It's got these nice stained glass type of doors and bay windows and triple gable, I think it is, or whatever you call those. It's just really nice, and just can't wait to see it done up. Yeah, it'll be good. And
you're selling the spare lot?
Yes, yeah. So we should be able to actually start selling that before we finish the renovation. Because that'll be quite quick with the civils. And I forgot to mention how we got that one. So that one was, I had just started actually the active campaign that I got with yourself, set that up, and I branched out to a whole ton of agents, got that all set up on a template for email send outs. And it's like, this is my criteria. Do you have anything available? Let me know, give me a call. And one of the agents picked up the phone, called me and says, I was just going to send it out to a few of my developer contacts. So have a look and see what you think. And it went from there. So we secured that.
It was an off-market purchase? Yes,
off-market.
Yeah, and that was through your agent network. So for those of you who missed what Scott mentioned, Active Campaign is a CRM, a client relationship management tool where you can put in a database or a mailing list of people. And so Scott's got a whole list of real estate agents. I think Vanessa might have a similar one as well. And he's put together this email to say, this is my criteria, this is my brief. What do you have that might suit? And these agents have come back. Effectively, he's secured an off-market deal, which he would not have had if he didn't have that database of agents. And how was in terms of getting the terms and the price that you wanted as well? Talk us through that.
Yeah, so we were actually pretty close to their asking price. We needed to move up a tiny bit just to get to where they wanted as a minimum. And so what we did, instead of putting up and losing a bit of profit margin, we were able to negotiate. We were like, okay, well, to make this number work, it wasn't their final number, but we did move up a little bit higher. To make this work, can you give us, if you give us, I think it was 3-month delayed settlement or 4-month delayed settlement with consent to lodge a DA, we'll be able to meet that price. And that was accepted. We went to contract with that, and yep, we got the DA prior to settlement. So we got that quite a bit before settlement, actually. So we were able to move on with other things.
So how long was the process for getting the DA?
Sorry, the process.
Did you say?
We got delayed settlement for 4 months, but the DA really only took probably 2 months in total after getting the initial reports done, and then it was 4 weeks, wasn't it, Vanessa?
Yes, for 4 weeks. The DA from lodgement to approval, it was fairly quick.
Yeah.
And that's also because it had 2 titles already. Was that right?
No.
Oh.
It was still considered a subdivision regardless of that. So because we had to realign the boundaries, they just considered it the rules as if you were doing a 1 into 2.
Right.
Yeah. So it was very positive, and we were able to get the civil works designs started before settlement, and we're well underway.
Yeah, fantastic. And so with agents, because one of the things that people sort of get a bit worried about is if I'm dealing with an agent, they're going to want a short settlement. They're not going to accept these extended settlements. How were you able to sort of work that with that agent?
This agent was very easy to deal with. You do get good ones, and this one was just very understanding of both parties and trying to work with both of us to get the better outcome for all of us. It just happened to work for the owners as well, that to keep it off market and to have that delayed settlement actually worked for them to find their next place that they wanted to downsize into. So it just made it a lot easier for the agent to pass those details on between us both. And but she was still very accommodating, and it was just asking nicely, I guess. Just ask and see if that it'll happen. And a few occasions we were able to just make things happen because we just asked for it.
How could anyone say no to you, Scott and Vanessa? You're just nice. And so what was the main reason that the owners preferred an off-market?
It was to not have people trudging through their house like for 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. Just wanted a bit more of a private sale, and they were happy to take the little bit less of a price to do so.
Fantastic. That's excellent. So that renovation is what sort of progress are you, where are you at with this project at the moment?
Yeah, we've got demolition starting next week for the ground floor to get it ready to lift up, and the lift and slide will be early December. So that'll actually happen this side of Christmas. We only settled, when did we settle? 4th of this month.
Yeah, last week we literally picked up the keys yesterday.
Yeah.
That one is go.
So we were able to settle and pretty much 2 weeks later get started on site and slide. It's usually a 4 or 5 month wait. yeah, we were just able to get that organised, and it's been really good. So I think that'll be the main things that'll happen this year, and then renovation will start next year.
Sure. Do you mind running us through some high-level numbers on the project?
So we bought it for 1.45. Oh, Vanessa, do you mind me sharing?
No, go for it. Yes, I was trying to find the numbers. I cannot memorize numbers, so I need to go through it. I was trying to find it.
And we've got, what's the profit margin that we're expecting? I think it was almost 300, maybe 300,000 over 12 months. That's from contract to sales, but from settlement it would be 7 months.
Yeah, 7-8 months roughly.
Yeah. Fantastic. And how much renovation are you doing in terms of cost of renovation?
Just cosmetic, because the main thing on the project, I guess, is this slide to make the project work. So we can have 2 properties, in one house and then one lot. And because it's in a great condition, the house, we're just going to do cosmetic renovation, and the next person can build under if they wish to do so.
Okay, so there's enough space for them to be able to. Well, did you have to lift it higher, or to be able to allow for the extra space?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. So there's opportunity there for someone else to add value as well.
Yes.
Brilliant. I've seen this question asked quite a few times in the community, like, what's the cost of doing the shift?
It depends on how much you have to organize with the other little bits and pieces like stairs and all of those things. But I think with just the slide itself, including footings and stumps, it's usually around the 50K mark, 55K. Is that right, Vanessa?
I think so.
And then
it's just a slide.
Yeah, that's just the slide and the footings. But then you've got to add things like your stairs. You might need to put in some extra steel beams for the new footings that come. They might require extra floor beams. You need, well, if you're not building under, you'll have an just completely open undercroft. Otherwise, if you want to just put slats or something to cover the openings, then you'll need to allow for that. What else have you got? You've got your plumbing reconnections, so you'll have to put your downpipes back into the ground and connect them back up. Your electrical, your general sewer and water. So yeah, it adds up a little bit. I think and it
depends also the demo. If you have to demo downstairs, like in our case, we have to demolish what's in downstairs so the house can be slid.
Yes.
So so that would add to the cost if you consider that too.
Yes.
So
probably
about 50 plus for the slide, and then all the different ancillaries that you need to connect any of your services again. The good thing is that because the under is exposed, all those connections can be done hopefully a little bit easier than if it was obviously slab on ground as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, over to you now, Vanessa. Share a bit about your pet project at the moment. Seeing that Scott's stolen your thunder.
Yes, that's all right. It's certainly an interesting one, and yes, I like all of them, to be honest. But my favorite one, I think, is the first one, the Everton Park one. The reason being is that it's my first development. So I moved from renovations to development. It's my first step into development as a developer. So I did invest in other people's deals, but it's different when you're actually managing the project. So I suppose working on the development project, it opened up quite a lot of opportunities, and that's what I like doing now. So yes, I think that's why it's my favorite. It's because it's my first.
And tell us a bit about, if you can refresh our memory about what that entailed, the first project.
Yes, well, it took a lot of agents' calls to get there. Let's put it this way, many agents' calls, and I didn't do active campaign. I did active calling and pestering agents until one said, well, here's a site for you to have a look.
It's a good thing you like connecting with people, Vanessa.
Yes, it was not quite techy, that one. It was mainly calling and calling and calling again until one agent decided, okay, give it a go on this one. Look at it and get back to me, because I will present to other developers, but you've been calling me consistently, so might as well look at it. So that's how that it paid off. So it was good. Yes. And to be honest, I thought I was going to start with a 1:2. That's why you planned to, but it was a 2:4. But it worked out well.
So it was a 2:4, and what were the terms of the sale?
Well, this one had quite a lot of negotiations backs and forwards, because we had tenants in that one, and we negotiated a delay settlement as well in that case, because they were in there running a business through those properties that they have, like two houses side by side, and they needed to stay there after settlement anyway. So the delay settlement didn't change much for them, but allowed us to go through DA. So we asked. And we did have also to solve stormwater. So the site would only work if we could get consent from the neighbors on the back or on the side. So we had to actually do that first. And again, have those awkward conversations to just nicely ask, can we do this? So we did. And they say yes, which was surprising. They are nice people out there.
Yeah, so the lesson here is, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
we don't always get yes, but yeah.
But if you didn't ask, you wouldn't know whether it was a yes or a no, or let's negotiate something, or rather. So that was a 2. Did you say a 2:4?
Correct.
Yeah, and a renovation, was that right?
No, just we demolished the two houses that were in there, and we split the two lots that were side by side into 4 lots. Okay. So 4 lots side by side.
And was there any construction, or was it purely land only?
Land.
Fantastic. That's really good. And how long did the planning process take?
That was quick too. I think it was around 6 weeks to get the development approval, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how long was the settlement?
5 months. So we contract in August, and we settle in January this year.
Yeah. Okay, great. And were any of them were they just extended contracts of sale, or did you put these under options, or how was that structured?
No, it was straight delay settlement. So we knew we were going to carry on with the deal, and the delay settlement allowed us to do what we needed to do to get a development approval, get everything lined up to get started with the project. Of course, we had to wait a little bit because we had tenants in there, and the moving that we thought would happen didn't happen quite, but as it happens in projects. But anyways, it got us a chance to get organized, and we're still getting some rental income until they moved out. And again, they were lovely people. The tenants, they allow us to come in, do measurements, and helped us with great people to work with, everybody in that project. So we were lucky. I don't know.
It all worked out. It all worked out. Yeah. And I'm intrigued. What sort of measurements were you doing? Was it in the house because you were knocking it down?
Yes, it just said that we had to get consultants through as well. What did we do?
Access to
Measures?
the
I
site.
can't remember. It's a blur.
So it was mainly access to the site.
Access to the site. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Access to the site.
Yeah. Fantastic. Excellent. So the first one, you're two into 4. So that's completed now, or you settled in January? Is that right?
Yeah. So we almost there. So we have 3 lots to go to sell that are on advertised now, but I suppose we're pretty close.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's excellent. That's
Yeah,
really great.
all the works have been done. It's in plan sealing, and it's just got the 3 lots left. So it's just waiting for those.
So their registered titles are ready to go.
Almost. It's
Almost.
a couple of weeks away, I think, or maybe a week.
That's great. That's great. Not long to go.
Not long to go.
Excellent. And just before we came on board, and we, Scott, when we first initially spoke, this was maybe 2 years ago, and at the time, and it was a little bit hush-hush, but you were about to exit out of your job, and we're going to, it was always the goal to go into development full-time. Tell us about what going into development and doing this full-time has allowed you to do. Like, how has it changed the way that you work? You obviously have quite an enviable tan right now. Tell us how this has changed from what you were doing before in your full-time job to how life is for you right now.
Okay, well, I quit the full-time job before I finished my first deal, and that first one took a little bit longer. But yeah, it ended up being about would have been 7 months or 8 months before the first deal's profit came through. So it was a nervous wait, but it allowed me to start really focusing on getting opportunities in, starting putting offers down. It just gave me that extra time to really focus and try and get another deal on the cards. And that I knew I had a bit of a buffer to, 2 years worth to figure myself out. And I just knew that if I do this full time, that I will be successful like the other jobs that I've done in the past. So the more experience I get, I just knew that I would become, proficient and succeed in it. And since then, so we came together for the Everton Park project with Vanessa, and it's just gone from there with 3 more deals from there. So it's given a lot of flexibility with my life, and it's also given me access to go into a location where I don't have to go into an office every day. So I don't have to deal with that traffic every day. I can just sit in the office at home, the home office, and work from the computer. And just that has given me, it's just so good because I've been able to move to the Gold Coast, and where I've always wanted to come back to, and just get that better lifestyle, because I was living in Brisbane just in an apartment. I was just staying inside all day. I'd go to the office, stay inside there, and coming here has just opened up a few things for lifestyle, as well as still being able to focus on development, and it's just increasing. It's clear that this has worked because I've got 4 deals on the go. So it's been good.
Good. You've moved away from the UV light tan to to an actual sunny tan.
Yeah.
Which is great. Just really, like I said, it's really inspiring because it's, you know, for so many people in the community, it's like, how do I exit out of work to be able to do, you know, do development full time? But it's also ensuring that it's you take it seriously as it's still part of your job, but then it allows you this flexibility to have the time to live where you want to, you know, where you want to live, and your projects are not necessarily in the Gold Coast; they're in Brisbane. But the distance doesn't seem to be a hindrance either.
Yeah, because we don't have to be on site every day. I mean, there might be occasions where it's nice to be there face to face with consultant or contractor, but it's not required.
And the selfie opportunity, you've got to take a photo of you on the site, right, for the fans as well. So
we work on it.
Once in a while, you got to take the photo of you on site. So yeah, Vanessa, we're going to be inspiring you to move closer to the beach as well.
So
very
different life cycles, I suppose. The kids
exactly. It's the kid-free lifestyle.
I guess the location is dictated by school.
Yeah, exactly. So over to you, Vanessa. What would you say are the top 3 tips for successful joint ventures and partnerships?
Okay. The first, I think, and foremost is trust, because there's no paper that would cater for if you don't trust your JV. So you need to have a very strong trust. Also, open communication and goals in common, I suppose. Yes. And there's another one as well that's also important. It's complementary skills, because there's no point you 2 or 3, how many they are in your partnership. They all have great skills, but they're all the same. So that might be a missing part.
Yeah. So then you end up with too many cooks in the kitchen type thing.
Yes.
And at loggerheads. Scott, what are your top 3?
Probably open communication as well, though. To add on top of that would be able to not be afraid to challenge the other person, views or thoughts on a particular thing. So we regularly challenge each other on price or negotiate.
That's true.
Whatever it might be, but it just keeps us in line, so we're not getting too excited or something like that, and we're not afraid to say something and be honest about it. So I guess that would be what open communication isn't honesty, is it? I think honesty is another one on the list there. So just being honest with your own goals, what you want to achieve, so that the other person is really aware of what you're wanting, and that will help us both understand, okay, this is where they want to be, is this in line with that? Honesty in terms of, challenging the other person, and just various other ways you could use that. But so those 2, and what else would there be? What's one that Vanessa said?
We talked a little bit about sticking to what works.
Yes.
What does that mean for you guys? What does it mean by sticking to what works? What does that mean for the both of you?
I suppose that as we grow as a team and do projects together, there are a few things that work best than others, and we're improving our systems as we go, and other things that might not work so well. So we reflect on it as well. We do have that kind of discussion that doesn't work. So let's leave it, and we're very open, and
I think as well, it's things that we feel like tasks that we might be really comfortable with, and we can just do it really quickly compared to the other person, because that they might not be as experienced in it. Like Vanessa loves talking to people, interacting with people, and I'm quite reserved. So usually Vanessa loves to take that stuff on board. That works for Vanessa, and it works for me too, because I don't have to talk to people.
We're working on it.
And there are other things like doing up the information memorandums. I love getting stuck in. I don't know why, but I just love getting stuck into the details of formatting those documents and getting a presentation perfect. And I can do those quite quickly, and also it's happy for me to do those. So just things like that works, and it's just more fluid. Things happen faster because we do what we enjoy more.
Fantastic. That's excellent, guys. Well, thank you so much, the both of you, for sharing your journey and sharing, I guess, the learnings through your journey that you've been together working on. And I'm so incredibly proud and happy for the both of you, because I said a lot of partnerships don't quite work out because for a whole lot of different reasons. There's communication, lack of trust, people want to take over, control, egos, that sort of thing. But the both of you have really found a good balance between personalities and roles and all of that, and the types of projects that work well for the both of you. So you don't have Scott that wants to build 100 units where Vanessa, you want to stick to small scale developments. Like, it's really important that you're honest about what those goals are, not just for the sake of doing a JV, just for the sake of doing a JV. So thank you both for sharing, and I'm sure we'll have you on again after you've done your 10th and 20th project together. I really look forward. Make sure you're taking lots of site selfies. I think that's a new hashtag, site selfie. That's what it's all about. Hashtag site selfie. For those of you that have joined us today, I'd love for you to give Vanessa and Scott a shout out. They've done incredibly well. I am really living the life and walking the talk and talking the walk, or whichever. You're doing what you set out to do, which was learn to be a developer and actually become a developer and live the lifestyle of that you dream of. So fantastic, and so happy for you both, and all the best with the projects that you're about to wrap up, and the ones that you're about to secure as well. I know you've got a few things going on at the moment, so thank you so much. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us on the Business of Property. Make sure you visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Business of Property, where you can find all our past episodes. And you want to check out our first interview with Scott and our second interview with Scott and Vanessa, make sure you check out the YouTube page and hit the like button so you can get notified of more cool new episodes that come up. So until next time, keep well. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.